Or do you want me to record? All right. Hello. Welcome, Daze Nuts, to the Dog Days podcast. You thought I forgot, but your boy doesn't forget. We've got myself, Ben, Shane, and Jirdu with us today. And yeah, it's been a minute, guys. I feel like I haven't seen you in ages.
I mean, no, you live with Asia, right? You just said I haven't seen you in ages.
Wait, can we resolve something that came up earlier today that I was genuinely curious about? Was Shane sent a message to us and Judy said, "Is this a D's nuts joke?" And you never replied, and I want to know the answer, Shane.
Jadu was 2 steps ahead.
Oh, damn.
Because he was supposed to say, "What's Duma?" And then I was
I'm
going to say,
trying to find
"Do my nuts fit in your mouth?" But, it didn't quite work out.
Yeah, because Jadu sent a message telling us about a Brazilian artist he wanted us to check out. Which, how do you say that, Jadu? I don't want to butcher it.
Los Genius.
Los Genius, okay. Shane was like, "Is that the artist that made the Duma painting?" And Jadu instantly was, "Is that a D's nuts joke?" It's just it's been ruined for all of us at this point.
He spelled it differently.
Right here. That's what I bring to this podcast.
He spelled it in a way that you could not see it coming.
That's what I tried. I was like, maybe if I throw an accent on it.
And wait, you were gonna say what as the joke?
Do my nuts fit in your mouth?
Oh, okay. I don't know why I thought you said "do my nuts stink."
No, I mean that's you can go.
That's a challenging image.
You want with it, really?
Man.
Someone sent me another one randomly earlier today, where it's like, Jadu, do you like Imagine Dragons?
Yeah.
Imagine dragging my balls across your face. There's so many, so many different options.
Oh, I've never heard that. That's so good.
I didn't either. I made my day.
What was is that water, Shane?
It is actually water. Yes.
So you're drinking from a cup, and it's just on the very bottom of the cup. So I was like, oh.
No, I'm just enjoying the sweet, sweet, sweet water. Trying to stay hydrated because I went backpacking this last weekend and I was not hydrated enough before, and I was destroyed. It was rough.
Fantastic segue, Shane.
Thank you. I'm the king of just getting straight to the topic. Came prepared today.
Yeah. Body feel.
How's my body feel? Actually, not too bad considering most of the trip actually was fine. I ended up going with our buddy Zach, who made a cameo appearance at the end of one of our episodes a few weeks ago, and then we also went with M, friend of the show, who I know listens to them occasionally. So cheers, hello.
Wait, Emily?
Yes.
Oh, hi Emily. Shout out.
Emily and Zach Emily in the same backpacking trip?
Yes. And me.
Are we gonna
wait? Was it just you three?
Yes.
Are we gonna talk about this?
No, we're not. We don't need to get into that.
No.
But
it was a very
to keep it short, to keep it vague. That just sounds awkward.
No, actually, they seemed to be on very good terms, and it was actually a lot of fun. No awkwardness at all. So,
that's pretty cool.
Yeah, it was very cool. But yeah, there's plenty of dramatic things on the trip. Nothing to do with any of the people.
Before we get to the details, just background. So you went on a camping trip this weekend. Was this your first, or sorry, I keep saying camping, backpacking trip. Was this your first backpacking, real backpacking trip you've ever done?
Second. Brandon and I went on a trip with Zach last year. It was our first ever trip. We did about a high 40s, might even be a 50-mile loop. We did the Ray Lakes loop up in Kings Canyon National Park. It's in the near the Sierras.
How many kings were there in there?
All the kings, man. They're all in that canyon up there. It's really, really cool.
Bro,
It's
what if we ended up in like a dystopian future, like, I don't know, 10, 20 years from now, where we get to the point where like corporations can buy like national parks or like advertise, so it's like Burger King's Canyon. Can you imagine that? That sounds like some idiocracy
It
shit.
scares me how possible that is. But
I just feel like I saw like the future and what it's gonna be.
I hope
it's just
Elon
gonna have to
doesn't
watch.
listen to podcasts. Doesn't listen because he will
Oh,
buy a park.
Elon listens to. He actually listens to us live. He's the only live listener we have. Like, don't doubt it. What's up, Elon?
I know we know you're listening. But yeah, so we went on a trip to Kings Canyon last year. It ended up being a lot of fun. It ended up going really smoothly, despite the fact that, again, it was Brennan and I's first ever backpacking trips. We had no idea really what we were doing. We weren't really quite in shape for it, but it ended up working out. So Zach invited me on another trip this past weekend, again, in kind of the Kings Canyon area. Lots of really like giant like granite faces, kind of similar geography to like yellow Yosemite, if you've ever been there. It's kind of a similar vibe there. And right off the bat, the trip started with me forgetting my shoes. And I realized this 30 seconds from pulling up to Zach's place.
Oh, you're hiking, like your main hiking shoes?
My hiking shoes. I was wearing Sperry's, Ben.
Oh.
So we were like pulling into Zach's house and I'm like, holy shit. I looked down at my shoes and I'm like, this is not good. Because I screwed up. I have all my gear now. Like I bought my own gear and I packed
Shit, okay.
So like,
nice.
yeah, because I know this is something I want to get into. And I had everything in there but my shoes, because I'm not going to throw my shoes in my backpack. I was going to wear them. But I walked out the door wearing the shoes that I had intended to just throw in the back of the trunk. So I just forgot to actually grab my hiking shoes, and I realized as we're pulling up. But thankfully, in a really huge twist, Zach has the same size feet, and I did not realize. So I was able to borrow like an extra pair of his, and I lucked out.
That's
tremendously.
fantastic. Yeah.
And then
Can you imagine doing an entire backpacking trip in fucking Sperry's?
My feet would have been annihilated. It would have been
like a day at UCSD of being on campus. Like one time I made the mistake of wearing like some like normal Converse with like, just the no insoles, whatever. And like literally at the end of one day of like walking around like normally, like my feet were on fire. I can't imagine like hiking with that.
So the shoes weren't as comfortable as the ones I normally wear, just because they weren't like conformed to my feet.
Mm-hmm.
But I got really lucky. But the next kind of twist in the trip was that Brenna would be able to vouch, since he's in California right now. There's a huge heat wave, at least this past weekend, in the Southwest in general. Temperatures here have been crazy. It's been like San Diego weather in San Francisco, to kind of give you a feel.
So what's the example of what the temperature is like?
The temperature at the trailhead was over 105 degrees.
Fuck. Okay.
That was how the trip started, at 105 degrees at like
insane.
1 p.m. by the time we got to the trailhead.
Damn.
And so that heat was a huge factor. And then we realized that the trailhead elevation was not what we thought it was. The trailhead you would normally take, you have to submit permits in order to backpack this trail. And the trailhead that most people do was full. There was no permits left. It's like at 6,000 feet, and we'd end up going to about 10,000 feet, around the highest.
Damn, okay.
But there was this other trailhead, about the same mileage, that was open. Suspiciously, no one had picked this one. And Zach was like, nice. This is perfect. It's like the same mileage. No one seems to want to use this trailhead. Let's do it. Why not? Last minute backpacking trip. The elevation of this trailhead was 2,500 feet.
Okay.
Which means that in order to get up to where we want to go, we'd have to go up 8,000 feet, not like 3,500. Huge difference. And we were starting off like in shrubs. Like there was no tree cover where the trailhead was. It was all dry shrubs and rolling hills. 105-degree heat. So that was
That's
how
like the desert. At that point, is that still like the desert there, or is it on the other side?
It's just no desert. It's just really dry shrubs.
Got it. Okay.
It's right after you get. It's like the first hills after the California Valley.
Got it. Oh shit. Okay, so desert's on the other side of the mountain.
Desert's on the other side, yeah, but it's still really dry, not a lot of water. So long story short, the first day was brutal because we're in 105-degree heat, doing pretty much all uphill,
Mhm.
and we went, I think, about 10 miles, 11 miles. By the end of
That day
it,
alone?
we were just getting destroyed, and
Yeah.
like even like Zach was feeling it a little bit, and like Zach is a very experienced backpacker in very good shape, so if he's hurting a little bit, then we're all really hurting. And I ended up being the one who kind of dropped first.
Mhm.
And we kind of, at a point, the sun had gotten dark. We hadn't reached where we wanted to camp yet, and we kind of sat down by like a little creek, and we're like, okay, what do we want to do? And I'm hurting at this point. I'm starting, I'm a little dehydrated. Heat exhaustion was brutal, and beyond all that, I'm starting to get altitude sickness. Like I'm an individual who gets motion sick and altitude sick pretty easily. And while I didn't experience any altitude sickness the previous trip, now it's hitting me now, combined with everything else. So I feel like shit. And we decide, okay, are we going to push on, or are we going to, make do and camp here? And I, trying to be all, making the sacrifice to the group and feeling all tough, I was like, you know what? I think I can do this. Let's push on. Horrible mistake. This is where the night got rough. We made it about, another half mile uphill, and we're slowly trekking up. And at one point I kind of sit down and I'm starting to get really dizzy. And I look up at Zach and I'm like, Zach, I'm hurting, man. I'm not doing well. And I start throwing up on the side of the
Oh my
side of the
God.
trail. Which is not good because I'm already dehydrated and more water's leaving me.
Yeah.
And I barely had anything to eat because I felt like, the altitude sickness. So I'm like, at one point I'm looking up at the stars, and the stars are beautiful. And I'm like, wow, what a beautiful view to see as I'm, about to pass out and throw up in this mountain. And eventually we kind of had a group meeting, and I kind of said, guys, I'd love to move on, but I can't make it. I'm not going to make it. We need to kind of turn around and find somewhere to camp, which sucked. And then I found out, I was like, okay, it's getting dark. The sun's down at this point. So we decide we're going to turn around. I reach for my headlamp. No big deal. My headlamp worked last year. I got to use my headlamp. Headlamp doesn't work. So I'm, dizzy, nauseous, dealing with dehydrated, stumbling around downhill in the dark, trying to get back to the campsite.
What do you even do? Like, so your main light source for the trip was not working, right?
Yes.
Fuck, dude.
So like,
Oof.
and I'm trying, and I'd just kind of like whip out my cell phone stuff, but like I kind of needed both hiking poles to really keep myself standing because I was hurting. But eventually we were able to kind of stick together and work our way down to a point where we can camp, pushed food and water, and I kind of recovered, and went to sleep. By the next morning I was feeling better, and thankfully felt fine the rest of the trip. But that first night was incredibly brutal.
Bro, that's a nightmare situation. It's like being stuck in the middle of nowhere in nature, feeling sick, like you don't know like what's gonna happen. Oof, like not a great time.
Yeah, thankfully, like Zach and Emily, they were really we were able to all get back okay, and they kind of helped me take my stuff back. And after getting some food and water in my system, I was able to kind of recover. And but the rest of the trip ended up going a lot better.
Yeah.
We ended up getting up to where we wanted to go, and the lakes up there were just beautiful. We went to this lake called Hamilton Lake, and it kind of ruined Alpine lakes for me. It was just gorgeous. It is one of the most beautiful lakes I've ever seen.
Wait, sorry, what was the name of it?
Hamilton Lake.
Hamilton Lake.
There was just like beautiful granite faces on that kind of that you can look on the lake, and it's like all from like snow melt up there. It's like the water's really cold and refreshing, and the hike there had all these cool views that were just breathtaking, and it was awesome. It pretty much, making it to that lake made up for all the pain the first day, because by the time we were there the second day, we're all just kind of sitting in this soft grass next to the lake, and there's barely any mosquitoes, and we're like, this is nice. This is honestly like heavenly.
No, yeah, that sounds beautiful.
Swim around the lake, and we ended up taking a short day that day to kind of just relax and rest up, which ended up being a really awesome time. And then
Oh yeah.
third day, we hiked up some of the granite faces that were by the lake and got to see some more really cool views of the area. And then we started making our way back and camped like a couple miles from where I threw up the third day, and then we made the long trek back on the fourth day. So yeah, this was a humbling experience. Long story short, you gotta be careful when backpacking in extreme heat, and also make sure you know what your elevation gain is, and check all that beforehand. And I'm also going to start packing altitude sickness medication and in my first aid kit just in case, because I don't want to go through that again. That was awful.
What do you take for that?
I need to do some research. I think there's some over-the-counter stuff you can take for that sort of thing. And if not, then, at the very least, I'll just make sure I'm more hydrated and eat
But the
properly.
under the counter
during the
stuff
trip.
is more fun.
Yeah, bro, just do meth.
yeah. It's funny. You'll forget about everything else.
Smoke some meth and go backpacking, baby. Dude, you guys, one time in high school, it was probably like the beginning of my junior or senior year. I had this friend who lived near me, and like she was like on the same bus stop, and like we would ride the bus every day. So like I talked to her, all the time. And she told me like it was like again like school had just started, so we're like just seeing each other for the first time since like the last school year. And she was just like we were just talking, and she was like, yeah, I was up in Wisconsin with like my family, just staying for the summer with them. I did math a couple times. I was like, wait, what?
Yeah, sorry, circle back.
Just so casually. I was like, are you fucking serious? She was like, yeah. Just had a friend that just tried meth. Like, okay. I haven't talked to her since high school.
Wow. I don't know if one casually does meth. Like that seems a little too intense to be casually just bring that up.
Yeah. I don't fucking know, man. It was crazy. Also, like that story made me think, were school buses a thing for you guys? I don't know, like in California, do they do that? Or in Brazil?
They do. Like not, you mean like public school buses?
Yeah.
Okay, no, it's like something you hire.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there probably are public school buses here, but the public schools are like really bad in Brazil, like for kids. For universities, it's the opposite. But for kids, the public schools suck, and pretty much like everyone has to pay for like lower levels of like education, like child education, like middle school and stuff. But for private schools, yeah, there's like vans that people like hire that just take the kids around and take them to their houses. Yeah.
I guess I generally just met a lot more private school kids in California compared to like in the Midwest. Because I feel like I never heard anyone talk about like going to public school in California or like being part of like like riding the school bus. No one that I knew for whatever reason.
Did you go to public or private school?
Me?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I went to public school all through high school.
I went to public school until the public school kind of turned into a charter school halfway through high school, which was kind of a weird thing, but it didn't really change a
What's a
whole
charter
lot. Just
school?
like in
You're disqualified. Yeah, wait, no. What is a charter school?
A charter school. Basically, they broke off from the public school district that the high school was in, and it kind of ran itself. And they're a very controversial topic in the American education system because they can often be run very well, or sometimes they can be run very poorly. And it's a mixed bag in terms of how successful or how unsuccessful they end up being.
Bro, I was hoping you'd say that the school that you went to was a normal, like regular school till like grade like 8, and then from grade 9 till 12 it became like a school specific for people who wanted to become professional dancers, and then you had to move because that wasn't your thing.
You don't think I can dance, to do? You don't think?
I mean, I don't doubt it. I've seen you in the fraternity parties. I know how you are,
Yeah,
but
Bro,
lots of
I know
lots
you
of
wanted,
flailing, lots of flips.
but I know
my
you wanted to
favorite.
learn more things than just dancing. So then you had to expand your horizon.
Exactly. I needed to move beyond my comfort zone of dance.
Bro, my favorite beta memories were definitely seeing people dance that normally would not dance. Like it's like I specifically remember Trent at the Palm Springs formal that we had, the spring formal, like just on the dance floor, just fucking getting it. Like the last thing you would expect. He was just like kind of going hard.
Yeah, it's cool seeing people like really open up. I think that's a big part of it. It's like when you see your introverted friends like chatting people up and having a good time. It makes you go like, hell yeah, man.
Yeah,
Good on you. It's just there's something very wholesome about that.
absolutely.
True. Like when you force your introverted friend to do drugs, like those like kind of healthy things.
When you force your introverted friend to commit a little felony just to, make them prove to themselves that they are a bad bitch, a girl boss.
Curl.
Bro, Ben, um, uh, the girl who wrote the story from like the tweets.
Mhm.
Zola?
Yeah,
at the
Zola.
beginning- Yeah, Zola. Yeah, Zola. Her name's also Asia. It's just spelled different.
Hmm.
It's
Oh
with
yeah,
a,
that's right.
it's with a Z, not with a J.
Mhm.
But that book, bro, that's one of the sickest looking books I've seen.
Bro, the Green Knight comes out in like a month. I'm so fucking excited. Or less than a month, I think, at this point.
Is that going to be released in theaters?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, it should be.
I saw some
Maybe
people
not as
saying,
many. Sorry, go ahead.
was it Green Knight? I think it was. I saw some people saying on Reddit that they saw Green Knight and it was underwhelming, but I'm not sure if it was Green Knight. If
Fuck,
it's
I hope not.
5 years to come out and then it's underwhelming, it's gonna suck. But like,
That yeah.
let me go on Reddit.
But that's like every movie bro community has these people who are like, ugh, it was like whatever. Like they're just so like snooty.
That's true.
Yeah, and some people just have different tastes in movies too, where they might have wanted more of an artsy movie, or who knows.
Yeah.
True.
If it's
I'm
not
sure-
Moonlight, it ain't shit.
Honestly, I'm sure once we see it, it will be a hot topic in this show, and we can develop a whole episode to breaking down every
Can we-
scene, why it's
Can
good.
we?
or not.
Oh, this meeting will end in 10 minutes.
Oh, there it goes.
Maybe a timer. Let me see if there's a timer.
Oh, I have one on my screen.
Yeah,
Oh
I can
yeah,
see
yeah,
it.
I see a timer. Cool. Okay.
Yeah, dude.
Can we commit to once Green Knight is out to see it as soon as it comes out so we can discuss it the next 5 days?
Sure, if it's in
Yeah,
theaters near me.
Absolutely. Yeah, it might be a more limited release theater wise, but we'll figure it out.
Yeah.
Should find it online or something. Speaking of movies, dude, I'm going to see with some friends the new Fast and Furious on Friday. And like I don't know the last time I went to like a blockbuster, quote unquote movie. I guess it's like a classic summer blockbuster movie. Coming out so like it's always fun to be a part of that, like going and seeing that, the audience, like when the fucking Avengers movies came out, like like just having like a big packed theater of like enthusiastic people. I don't know, it's gonna be sick, and we're all gonna dress as Vin Diesel also.
Nice.
That was Asia's idea. I'm like 200% sure.
Oh yeah, it was.
Bro, Asia has
Absolutely.
the best fucking ideas about like costumes or like themes for parties.
Oh yeah, true. Like her birthday, we had a whole ass murder mystery party just because.
That's awesome.
Yeah, we had like a
Bro,
big group of people over and like planned like games and
what the
stuff.
fuck?
It was wild.
And
Dang.
on like my no, I was gonna say on my wedding, but that wouldn't be too like it wouldn't make sense. But like my perfect day would be a day where I get Asia to plan a like themed like birthday party for me, and then I get Shane to plan a cool like hiking trip for me, and then I get Brandon to like gather like this random ass group of people for me to meet and like talk to for the first time, or maybe like drive me to a winery or something, because apparently that's all he does. And then I'll get like Ben to like, what's Ben's specialty? Let me think of something that Ben is really the best at. I'll get Ben. Ah, shit. Let me think about it. You guys talk.
Ben will bring a copy of The Green Knight for us to watch.
Yeah,
Sure.
yeah. But that's the perfect.
I'll bring the weed.
Yeah, true.
There you go.
Bro, one thing I won't do on my perfect day is to get high and then watch Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas.
Oh, dude, we did that, right?
Yeah.
Bro, you know what I also found to do? Oh, this is something like we should post to like social media or something as like a little bonus. Was we like both had we had just come back from swimming. We were both high as shit, playing our guitars shirtless. I don't remember what song it was.
It was Amber by
Oh,
311.
it was Amber by 311. We're just
Wow.
high as shit with two acoustic guitars just jamming to it.
And I don't know the lyrics. I was just going like, oh, Amber is
That's pretty much the song. You don't really need to know.
I need to. I'll track it down. I don't remember where I saw it recently.
I have it exactly where it is. Like
that's
longitude, I know the latitude.
that would be my contribution. All of us could play a shirtless song together.
Bro, yeah. And then what was it? I sent it some. I think I don't know what I did, but Asia saw it and she wasn't there. She wasn't in San Diego then. And then she was, "Are you guys okay?" or something. I was like, "Yeah, we're just." Oh, okay.
You guys good?
She was like worried. Um,
Oh my god.
yeah, 311. Can we say that? Can we publicly say that if you Dog Days listener don't like 311, you can right the fuck off and go to a different podcast. Because 311 is the best band that ever existed.
So this is a 311 friendly podcast.
Yeah,
than
this is
friendly.
we're it's like somewhere saying they're 420 friendly. We're 311 friendly on this
Nice.
show. We're the first 311 friendly show.
You know, I couldn't name a single song besides Amber.
I mean,
But
do you need anything else?
I don't know. I do. I don't listen to any of their stuff.
I've heard a few other songs, but not in a long time. Yeah, no, definitely. I cannot think of a single other one. What do we got you do?
I mean, they have an entire album about colors, right? But it's all like Magenta is another song of theirs. It's really good. Periwinkle.
Classic.
Favorite.
Oh,
It goes something like this.
Hughes.
Periwinkle. You've been down too long in the midnight sea.
Is that actually it?
No, that's a deal.
I would have bought it. That's like they're kind of a generic like ska reggae band.
Yeah. That was
Oh my God.
weird. I don't know if 311's from the 2000s, but that's what I would guess. And
Yeah, it's like late 90s, 2000s, but there was a lot of like that ska and punk and pop were all mixing together.
Yeah,
a lot
do you
of-
remember that? Like the end of the 90s, like specifically the time we grew up in, was like a lot of hard to label music.
Oh yeah, that I was noticing that.
Porn?
Who came on? Counting Crows came on. We were watching some like rom-com from around then, me and Asia last night. I was like, wow, I always pictured Counting Crows as like an edgy band, like metal or something, just from the name. And then I heard I'm just like, what the fuck? Like that's exactly that music, you know? Like it's just like Raja punk. Like it's just like four or five different genres together. Which I think I watched a video about it at some point. I can't remember when or where. But we're coming into another phase of that unless like, right now a lot of popular music is like really genreless. Like you look at super underground people on like, I don't know, like TikTok or YouTube or whatever, and like they're just doing whatever, like rap mixed with fucking jazz or like rock or like whatever. I don't know. It's like super interesting to see what'll come out of that, and like if it'll parallel like early 2000 or if it'll be completely different.
Hopefully a little better. Some of the experimentation in the early 2000s didn't sound as good, but
Yeah.
I find it exciting. I love when things mix. It makes for some really memorable stuff.
Specifically in the 2000s, it was a lot of rap with rock that people were trying to sound good. And then there were some good outcomes of that and some bad outcomes of that. Of course, Limp Bizkit and Linkin Park are in different sides of the coin. But yeah.
Papa Roach, bro.
Papa Roach. Yeah.
Papa Roach when he raps now.
Classic.
You guys, I have another interesting story from this weekend. We're coming down on our time. Do we want to pause and restart?
Sure.
Let's do an ad break.
Sure.
Okay. Pause.
This podcast. All right, we are back after our break for advertisements.
You 311 guys are so funny.
Hey, this is a 311 safe space, you motherfucker.
I don't want to hear. I don't even want to hear you joke about 311.
I won't hear that shit in here. In this safe space for 311. How dare you?
And what is that thing behind you on top of the fish tank? The thing that looks like a snake tank? That thing that looks like it has a straw coming out of it.
Straw.
Right?
Oh, you might be okay. This is very not podcast friendly, but there's the light on top of the tank, and then there's a thermostat hanging on the wall, and the camera looks like they're connected.
Okay. I thought it was something you were drinking out of, or maybe.
No, it's like just hard to see. All right, you guys, I had a very interesting experience last weekend. So basically, me, Asia, and then a group of our friends that
And the snake?
Not the snake, no. It was Asia's friend and her boyfriend from college, and then one of their friends, and they all ended up moving to Chicago like over the last year with us. It was just like kind of a coincidence. It's kind of cool. But anyway, we've been hanging out with them. This last weekend, this one girl, we went to her place for the first time. She has like a condo, or she's renting. It's an apartment in like a high rise, like right on the lake. It's insane. Her window doesn't overlook the lake, but her window does look at a building which reflects the lake because it's like right there. So it's like she can see the lake anyway, but doesn't have to like pay the crazy price. It was kind of hilarious. But anyway, so we went to her place, ate some food, and then went down to the beach, which is nearby. It was like a couple blocks away. And we're leaving her building, and this like random dude walks up to us. He's like just like this shirtless dude. He like looked like an absolute mega chad, and he just starts like talking to us. He's like, "Oh, like y'all live." I was carrying Spike Ball on my back. He's like, "Oh shit, Spike Ball." I was like, "Oh yeah, dude." He's like, "Oh dude, I fucking love Spike Ball. Like, do you mind if I'll probably like catch some games with you guys at the beach." I'm like, "Okay." But then he's like joins us and like starts walking with us, like talking to us, and like saying like, "Yeah, like I moved here recently. Like I don't have any friends. I'm just like trying to like meet people, you know." And then we got to the beach. There's a bar at the beach, and he's like, "Yo, you guys want to do a shot?" And we're like, "What?" And, like we're just gonna go to the beach and hang out, like play spike ball. We drank a few beers at lunch, and that was it. He's like, "You guys want to do a shot right now?" We're like, "What do you?" He's like, I'll pay. Like, of course I'll pay. Like, we're like, "Okay, yeah, sure." I'm not gonna say no. I just met you literally 2 minutes ago, but fuck yeah, dude, let's go. Like, we get to the bar, like he like goes and like orders a shot, and he's just like, "Here's my roommate. And he was like this like hot like black dude with like dreads and like a nose ring, and like he was shirtless too. He was just like, "What's up, guys?" And then like he's like, "This is my roommate's boyfriend." He's like, "What's up, guys?" The roommate then was like, he's like, "Oh, what are y'all names?" He's like, "I'm a hugger, by the way." And we're like, "What?" And like this just shirtless like tall dude just like hugs me. I'm like, "Oh, what's up? Okay, dude, sure, I'll love here." I like it was fucking wild. And he's like, "All right, and this is my dad," and his dad was there at the bar, like at a table, just like vibing. We're like, "What's up?" And
The
he's like,
characters in the story.
and so it was wild. It's all over the place. Then we get our shots, and then we're just like cheers, whatever. And then he's like, all right, like we going out to the beach. We're like, yeah, let's go. Like he's like gonna hang out with us. And then we're like, so our group turns around, starts heading out. I turn around, he's not following us. Last I saw, I never saw him again. And we were right at the beach, like outside the bar, like where he could have seen us. Like he was just like, oh, like we're gonna hang out. And we're like, all right. And then he's just like, gone. He just bought us a shot, disappeared, poof.
What a legend.
Bro,
I feel like he wasn't real. Like maybe he was like
Oh,
a
he's a
spiritual
ghost?
apparition or like a minor
He was
deity
like
or
the
something.
spirit of the beach.
The Chicago beach bro.
bro,
He's a friendly spirit who gives you.
I try to tell you guys we live in a simulation, and you guys tell me no. But
Could be.
every day you get more evidence. No, but for real, that was for sure God.
Oh yeah, like a minor deity at least for sure, 100%.
A beach spirit.
You guys, I have a little follow up to something we talked about when Jacob was on the show. Remember how he was telling us about like how the Pentagon and shit has like confirmed UFOs and aliens and whatever.
Did they ever release that?
Oh yeah, that was there then. But I recently started listening to this new podcast, and this dude brought this up. I had not heard about it before. Apparently, this Israeli guy, it's like Haim El Shed or something. Haim Shed. Um, he was like I think a retired military official, like top official for the government, whatever, like high level politician. And he came out and just started saying like aliens have like made contact with us. There's a whole like federation of alien races that are waiting until we're developed enough to invite us in, and like they've been like observing us and stuff. He said like we've made contact with them, like some of them are like on Earth now, like with us, like studying us or monitoring us, and like all this shit. And like he said like President Trump was about to leak it, and like they had to like shut him down, so like they faked that he had COVID. Like it's like all this like crazy shit that all it kind of adds up to, like in conspiracy theory ways. But like, can you like imagine like fucking Nancy Pelosi coming out and saying all this, or like I don't fucking know, like just like a senator like Mitch McConnell's like, well, by the way, there are aliens and they are. Oh my gosh.
That would be the greatest C-SPAN live stream of all time.
You believe that though? Like low key, like that's a conspiracy theory, like one of few that are believable and like
It would be more
laws.
fun if it was real.
I would.
Like,
I want to think.
You know
it's
how much more fun the universe is if there's like a whole legion of like other aliens out there like
right.
waiting to like bring us in. Like, do you think
But
they'll?
like, remember when the like what I was talking about when the Pentagon confirmed UFOs, have like released like records and videos of them? Like, what if that is them like watching us? Like oof, it all connects.
What do you think
It's
they would?
cool. It's cool and it's fun to like imagine like crazy stuff like that because it takes us out of like our normal worries and our normal like expectations. But my one thing with that is that it'd be very hard for only government officials to know of something of that scale. Like we've had like millions of years on this earth and like no one's ever, I mean, of course there's the chance that people do hear about it and then they get murdered, or people do hear about that but then records get like thrown away. But let's suppose that doesn't happen. How come like we've existed for millions of years and like no record exists of that, and then like only governments know of it and the governments choose not to release information ever? Like it's hard to imagine that would happen, especially now because I think technology and like means of communication used to be in the hands of governments a lot more. Um, but now with like Elon and like billionaires trying to develop technology, I don't think there'd be any reason for like government. Like if you were an alien, how would you know who you'd contact? Like a regular person or a government official? You wouldn't. The only way you'd contact like a government person instead of a regular person is if like only government people were like looking up in the sky or like pointing things at the sky, which used to be the case, but now it isn't. So like I think whenever that happens, I think like it's gonna be a big thing. It's not gonna be like this thing that people can just like cover.
Wow, it's a lot to
Heavy
sink in.
stuff. I just like it makes you wonder, you know, like what things in history, like that. I mean, this sounds like, you know, some like ancient alien shit.
No.
You know, like if there are like people who have encountered like aliens and like we just are like, oh, like they're dumb. It was just like the aurora or like a comet or like whatever, you know. But in like reality, like they did, and we just don't believe
Yeah,
it.
that's the whole foundation of the whole ancient alien stuff, where it's like, what if this book in the Bible was actually people seeing aliens and couldn't process what they were seeing?
Bro, I feel like I
there's a
need
lot
to watch that show High because that sounds amazingly
that,
stupid.
yeah, that's a lot of that.
Wait, Asian Aliens is the name of a show?
It's the name of the show. It's also the name of like a really like popular kind of like, I don't know if it's a conspiracy, just a kind of a fun theory where people think that
Yeah.
like a lot of this like the ancient like myths or legends from from old are actually like people like experiencing alien encounters and trying to describe them and in a way that makes sense to them. So, and then as through time, the descriptions of the spacecraft changes as technology around us changes. It starts off as like, chariots of fire and like, oh, there's Zeus doing weird shit to them, and it turns into like, other things through time. So that's kind of where a lot of that stuff comes from. It's kind of a popular idea, and the show Ancient Aliens, where that gets memed a lot. They talk about that stuff a lot.
Mm-hmm. Do you guys know what ball lightning is?
Yes.
Jadu, do you? So like, there's like all different forms of lightning. Like there's like ones that go up and they're like are red or like green sprays and red sprays and like random things. And one, like the rarest one, there's literally not footage of it even like now, like in the modern age when someone could like whip out their phone. Is like ball lightning, and it's just like literally like a ball of like lightning that like kind of appears in the air, kind of floats around and then dissipates. Like, but there's like enough eyewitness accounts of it happening that it's like a well-known like scientific thing, like is a real thing, but there's literally still not video footage of it.
How does the electricity like bundle and
No one knows because it's so
no one
rare.
knows?
Like, yeah, like they don't like I don't know if you can, maybe I'm wrong, like maybe there's theories about the physics of it, but like it's definitely not something that could be studied and like could be taught in a science class that, you know, like this is ball lightning and how it works.
Crazy.
So if you can't study it, you can't. That's not how the scientific process works, you know? So I don't know. It's like very weird, like in between science and like pseudoscience, but it's real.
Or maybe it's just Ryu from Street Fighter, just practicing his Hadoukens.
True.
Yeah.
Maybe he's the alien.
Oh. I mean, Goku was an alien.
Goku was an alien.
Goku had the Kamehameha.
Facts.
Damn. I feel like I'm
Sonic is also an alien, apparently. Never knew that.
facts, bro.
Facts.
So is Optimus Prime.
Bro, I feel like we're rapping. We're like freestyling. Goku was an alien. Facts. Sonic was an alien. Optimus Prime.
Oh, new album, new genre. We're doing it.
Bro,
In his album.
Oh, their debut rap album.
Yeah, yeah.
Can you
It's funny,
imagine?
the like we stopped making new like characters, right? Like we probably, I don't know what kind of kids. This is probably very pretentious, because like I'm a 20-something-year-old saying that like kids shows don't exist anymore. They probably do. And they probably do make like different characters. But when we were growing up, they were making characters left and right. Like they were making like
They were
really,
getting big too.
yeah,
Yeah,
it
Like
was
the
like,
like
parents knew about like Pikachu and shit. They're like, oh, that's
yeah,
yeah,
Pikachu.
late '90s, early 2000s were a great time for cartoons, especially with like
yeah.
Nickelodeon, Cartoon Network. A lot of the like the popular American channels were just got really big and had a lot of good stuff all at once. It was a bit of a animation renaissance. It felt like
If you
Pixar
take
even.
if you take character like all the different characters that people drew and that we know, like if we look at them, we can name them. Like that really shows like human creativity in like a great way. It's like at the same time you have Optimus Prime, which is like if you look at it and you don't know who Optimus Prime is, you're gonna be what the fuck. But we know it's a fucking truck that transforms into a fucking robot that saves the earth multiple times with Shia LaBeouf's help.
You
Um,
know, sorry. You know, one thing that might explain this is the fact that back then the only option you had for watching TV was like network or cable television, which usually would have commercials and like commercial breaks. And so like, on family programming, commercials would be for like there'd be kids, around Christmas time, they'd be advertising like Pokemon and shit. And everybody, knew these cartoon characters because like a lot cartoon characters have always been very linked to like merchandise, and like selling things to kids, toys, like it,
mhm.
it makes money. But now, like ads have become a little bit obsolete. Like I hate ads, and I've like gone on my way. Like I pay for Hulu without ads. I pay for YouTube Premium. Sometimes I have ads on my phone when I watch YouTube. Like I hate ads. Like I go out of my way to watch, and like it's a thing you can do now. But like that's like broad too. People just in general aren't seeing as many advertisements, so we're not being exposed as much to like this kid's programming that it's like in a way that we'll know these new cartoon characters that are coming out and shit.
That's true. Yeah. I was gonna compare Optimus Prime to fucking like Jigglypuff or something, and then you just made everything make sense.
Oh, you guys, I speaking of cartoons, I watched the new Pixar movie. Have you guys heard anything about that or
Ooh,
seen it yet?
how was it? It looks really good.
It was cool. It was like, Pixar is kind of on a cycle where now they're doing 2 movies a year for the last few years. And it's always like the one that comes out around the holiday time is like their big, like, feels one, like it's like what they pour their soul into and get Oscar nominations for and whatever. And then in the summer they release like a more fun, like goofy kiddie movie. Like last year was the one with like the they're like in like a
The two
fantasy
brothers.
world. Yeah, I literally can't even remember. Like Onward, I
Okay.
think. Like it's so
Yeah.
Yeah.
forgettable. Like I was having trouble remembering the name. Um and so like yeah, that they do that during the summer, like a subpar movie. That being said, this movie was not the best Pixar movie I've seen. It didn't blow me away by any means, but it was a really nice, like, light-hearted, like there weren't really high stakes at all in the whole movie. Like kids movie. It was just like very calming. I've seen a lot of people compare it to Ghibli movies. Like they're good for kids. They're not like they're a little more high-minded. There's a little more effort put into them, but um, it's still a kids movie, right? It's not the
What's it
most
called?
amazing thing.
Yeah.
But no, like I would recommend it. It was
Right.
really cool. It was really wholesome and like funny, well animated. Can't go wrong.
It looks beautiful. Like
Oh,
I
it's
even the
so
trailers,
nice.
it
Yeah,
looks stunning and
and that's another Ghibli comparison that people are making. Like
yeah.
in many ways it is kind of similar. It's not a Japanese movie, but it's got that vibe to it.
That's
Um,
cool. I worked my way through like a few of the Ghibli movies while still at HBO Max, and I really, really liked them. So I'm gonna have to check this other movie out.
I mean,
What's it
yeah,
called?
favorite movies. What was I gonna say? Um,
What
believe it's
Wait,
Luca, right?
Yeah, yeah, definitely recommend Luca. And that it was also especially like stark in contrast to we watched Raya and the Last Dragon, the Disney movie that came out a few months ago because it finally was free on Disney Plus. Not shouting out Disney Plus, fuck Disney. Um, but that movie was super like it had the Disney stank on it. It was generic. It wasn't even a musical, which is like usually the saving grace of a Disney movie is like the songs get popular. But it was just a movie and it was just like and it was just very generic, bland story, and it was just like what the fuck, dude? This is just not good anymore. Like old Disney was definitely better.
Yeah,
But Pixar is staying strong. Like it's very interesting.
Disney like their own animation movies are very hit or miss when
Yeah.
it comes to their quality. They're not nearly as consistent as Pixar is. I don't know why. It's actually kind of incredible how consistent, how like most Pixar movies are at the very worst decent to very good.
Yeah.
There's only a handful of bummers in there.
It's almost like up to this point at this point Disney just like drops a banger like once every 10 years like not like think about Frozen, like that shit is still everywhere, like
Yeah.
little kids have like Frozen merchandise, and it's been what 6-7 years since that movie came out, 6.5. Like that happens very rarely, whereas like old Disney movies, every single one of those was that. It's weird. I don't want to talk about Disney though, fuck Disney.
yeah, the last banger from Disney was obviously High School Musical 2, right?
Oh, okay, yeah. Disney Channel.
Bro, I rewatched High School Musical 2 during the pandemic, I think like a year ago with Homana, and it's way better than I imagined. It's way better. I was expecting some trashy like teen like angsty shit. It was fucking good. I watched it.
I have a very fond memory of very early on when I started at Marquette, my freshman year for college. In the dorms, over the first few weeks, like me and like all the people in my hallway, all were like a big group of friends. Like we all talked a lot. And within a few weeks, we were in one of someone's room, like all hanging out, like probably 15 of us, and like I don't know how it came up, but someone started like singing and talking about High School Musical, and then like we were all getting into it. Like I wasn't a huge fan. I definitely saw it because I had a sister who was 2 years younger than me, and she watched it literally almost every day. I'm not even exaggerating. So I saw that movie so much, and like I knew all the songs, and it was like okay, I didn't hate it, but then like all it led to like all of us except for like 2 or 3 people were like, what the fuck? And we're all just like, we're all in this together. I don't remember what songs we were singing, but like we were jamming out. And it was that's how I
There's
knew
so many
like
good
my
songs.
friends, we may not have been cool in high school because we all know High School Musical, but we're all great guys.
I'll clip that. Um, yo, just one last thing about this topic.
Uh-huh.
Do you think the Studio Ghibli movies, one of their, um, one of the things that get people attracted to them is the fact that there's something kind of like dark about them, like I don't know.
Yeah.
I've only seen Spirited Away. I have yet to see the other one that's really big, but yeah, but something that I noticed like right off the bat was that like I couldn't tell what the vibe was in any point in the movie. Like at any point in the movie, like someone could die and it would not be shocking.
Yeah.
Um,
Dude, Spirited Away, like that movie terrified. Not, I think I was old enough when I saw that I wasn't terrified of it, but like I remember watching with like my siblings and like at my daycare. When I was younger, we would watch it. Like we would pick a movie, and like that was what I always picked. But like the little kids were fucking horrified by that movie. Like, and it, like I get it. Like it's fucking. There's some parts that are creepy as shit, and it's like it's so cool because it's like clearly a kids movie, but they definitely deal with some darker undertones, and I really dig that. Like,
yeah,
Kind of
they're definitely more grown up.
kind of reminiscent of some of the early Disney stuff where you'll watch like some of those early cartoons and it's like, wow, like she straight up like tried to murder that chick. And they have moments like that where the creepiness I think adds something to where the adults, like older people, can kind of watch the movie too. I think that's another reason why the Studio Ghibli and Pixar movies are so successful is they're not just for kids. Anyone can really watch and enjoy those movies.
Yeah, an interesting thing about Miyazaki is like if you pay attention or like think about it, all of his movies and Miyazaki and Ghibli are not the same. Miyazaki's
Mhm.
within Ghibli. All of his movies feature a young female protagonist because he like, growing up like a lot of kids' movies of that type were like had a white dude as the main character, like any cartoon from before then that was popular, and so he's like, I want someone who young girls can relate to because they can't in a lot of movies. But, anyone can relate to them. Like they're a very non, I guess, like gender rule following kid. He doesn't focus on that is what I'm trying to say. They're just a kid. Like, it doesn't matter. But it's like really cool. Like, he's just like a really genuinely good guy. He wants to make good stuff for kids, but like that also teaches them something and like, gives them something to think about. I love it. I could talk forever about Ghibli.
Also, the food
The
in Ghibli movies. Oh my gosh, the
The
food.
what?
yeah.
Oh, dude, that fucking the first or early scene in Spirited Away with the food. I want to eat all that food all the time. I've literally had dreams where I was there eating that food. Like I'm not even kidding.
Bro, the one of the things that make Spirited Away creepy is like the drawings, like the cartoons, the characters. They're not too much different from like Junji Ito like mangas.
Yeah, they're
What,
fucking they're fucking monstrosities, dude.
yeah,
The radish spirit did terrify me when I was a kid. I do remember that. But now
yeah,
like
and yeah,
I
it's
think
like
it's great.
super like people consider them like the holy grail of like kids movies, basically. 'Cause you learn from them, like yeah,
It's
it's
fucking gorgeous to look at, like almost
yeah,
always.
it's like I think things that try not to be too black on white or too black or white, too black and white. I don't know. Too like specifically one thing, they have kind of a shorter shelf life. I think. Like looking at things that I don't know, things that break barriers are usually like higher quality. I don't know. I don't know if I'm being too like generalizing, but like I don't know. It's what we were talking earlier about like music, how music's becoming like labelless more and more.
Mhm.
I think that's the future.
Yeah, breaking barriers like the movie Cars.
Exactly.
uh, hell yeah. All right, with that, very cerebral thought to linger on, we're gonna wrap up for the night. I've been Ben and Shane. I just had this idea that you should make a song about your experience being dehydrated in the mountains and you should name it "Amber is the color of my piss."
Yeah. I mean, that's pretty on point. Wow. Well, my name is Shane. If some random dude named Zach ever tries to invite you on a backpacking trip, say no. It never ends well. It was a good time.
My name is Jadu, and about what Ben was saying about Disney, I miss the old Disney, straight from the go Disney, chopped up the soul Disney, set on his goals Disney. I hate the new Disney, rude Disney, always rude Disney, spaz in the news Disney. I miss the sweet Disney, chop up the beats Disney. I gotta say, at the time, I'd like to meet Disney. See, I invented Disney. I wasn't. It wasn't any Disney. And now I look around and there's so many Disneys. I used to love Disney. I used to love Disney. I even had a pink polo. I thought it was Disney. What if Disney made a song about Disney called I Miss the Old Disney? Man, that'd be so Disney. That's all. That's all it was Disney. We still love Disney. And I love Disney like Disney loves Disney.
Boopity scoop.
Oh, that was beautiful. All right, and with that, so long to my Daze nuts and 311 hats.